history of doing all of this reporting about Degrassi, is there any news that you remember reporting on being like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening?
I would say that like a really big one was when Degrassi got quote unquote canceled in 2015 and then revived like a week later. I mean, that was like, on the one hand, it was really sad when we got the news that the show was canceled, but in a weird way, it's one of my fondest memories of being in the fandom because every single news outlet was reporting Degrassi's canceled, Degrassi's canceled, Degrassi's canceled.
Yeah.
But like the fans, we knew better. Like we knew that something was up, right? Like we were doing the investigative reporting that the journalists weren't doing. And we were like discovering things. And, you know, there were things like on the Directors Guild of Canada website that we found to suggest they were still filming and all that stuff. And so it was actually like really fun. And then when we got the news that it was coming to Netflix with Next Class, I mean, that was just such an exciting day. And like, I'll always remember that as just being a really fun time.
That is so cool. Just a little Degrassi investigative journalism. I love that. Was there any news that was kind of crazy that you couldn't believe you were reporting?
The one thing that I was kind of shocked about that we broke and they kind of tried to downplay a little bit was when some random fan had been walking by a church, caught that they'd been filming a funeral. And it was really shocking to kind of figure that out and to post about that. And then it was very obvious this was season 13 when Adam unfortunately passes away. They were kind of trying to keep a lid on it, but they, of course, there's just no way. Once that's out, there's just literally no way to contain that kind of news.
Totally remember that. And also there was a time that didn't Stefan like take a photo and then accidentally reveal like the Jenna and Casey's baby name and gender? Oh
yeah. And then Teen Nick accidentally pre-published all of their blogs online about the show, and they accidentally spoiled the fact that Claire was pregnant.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, you're really taking me back.
Yeah. So yeah, now that I think about it, this show has so many things where everything would just randomly get spoiled. They were just really bad at keeping secrets.
Degrassi is so important to me because while I suffer from generalized anxiety disorder, so I was able to find a lot of meaning behind certain characters and episodes and things I related with. I found that in general, it helped me become a better friend, a partner, and a teacher, because there's so many characters experiencing things that I have never been through, like depression, self-harm, bipolar disorder, body dysmorphia, eating disorders, cancer. I mean, it goes on and on. Mm-hmm. And while I haven't experienced that, the characters allow us to have such an in-depth look into these issues that it helps me to self-actualize where I am amongst it all and how I can become a better, like I said, teacher, partner, friend, by understanding what these people need from the people that surround them in their lives. So many of the characters say, you can help me by doing this, or I'd love it if you did this, or you could support me in these ways. And I think even if you can't relate to it personally, there's so much we can still learn from those episodes. And that's something that I don't see in a lot of shows. A lot of shows are very targeted towards a certain audience or a certain theme. And I mean, Degrassi just does it all.
Is there anything else you want to tell me? Any more lessons plans? Any more things about your students?
Oh man, one thing I know you touched on this in a previous, I think your last podcast was about Indigenous issues, and something I would really like to incorporate would be that as of next year, the entire curriculum in all of Ontario is going to be changing for high school students. And it's going to have an Indigenous-based focus and anti-racism focus. And I think that's really cool, but I would love Degrassi episodes that can also incorporate with this changing curriculum.
Oh my God.
So I'm really hoping in the reboot that we can have more of a focus on specifically Canadian Indigenous issues. And I would love to be able to incorporate that more.
Oh my God. Yes. Oh my God. That's the best answer ever. I love that. Also, what a flatter that podcast episode just went up a few days ago and you've already listened to it. Wow. Thank you.
I listened to it twice.
Oh God, you're good. I think it would be so interesting. Can you tell the story to everyone of how we connected over TikTok and how it led to you sending me some cool Kids at Degrassi Street stuff?
Oh my gosh, it's such a cool story. Okay, first of all, I don't have any social media ever. And then when the pandemic hit, my husband doesn't have social media either. He downloads this TikTok app. I was like, what is this? And so I of course I got addicted, and you end up scrolling forever. I guess all of a sudden I started getting all these like Degrassi related videos on my For You page. And then I came across yours, and I was like, oh my God, this is like, I thought I was a big fan. I was like, no, like I don't even come close. So then I think I made a comment or something about how my aunt sang the theme song, and you wrote back, you're like, oh my God, that's so cool. And then I watched your live and sort of reiterated my family connection. And then you actually
Yeah.
were like talking to me during your live, like as I was typing, I'm going, oh my God, like I felt super famous.
Oh my gosh. I love that.
So then I told my aunt and uncle the story, and they were like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. And you have to understand, my aunt and uncle are literally probably the nicest, sweetest people that you'll ever meet in this world. She immediately sent me digital copies of like these vintage postcards from the kids at Degrassi Street. And she like is explaining to me how that's how advertising worked in the 80s.
Oh my gosh. That is so cool. I didn't know that.
It was so cool. Like they would literally walk down the street and hand out these postcards to people. Like it's so funny. And
Oh
so
my, that escalates it even more. Oh my God, I had no idea. Oh my God, yes, please keep going. This is amazing.
So then, and I think I private messaged you, and then we exchanged emails, and then I think I emailed you the postcards, and then on your next live you thanked me, and I was like, oh my God, this is so cool.
I love it. I was stoked. Oh my God, are you kidding me? Because also what is so coincidental is that at that exact same time, I was making a YouTube series called The History of Degrassi Street, where like for like 6 weeks, every weekend I released a breakdown of Degrassi and how it kind of grew as a series. And then in the middle of all of this, like I've just learned about the entire history of Lewis. I like learned about Wendy and their connection to the show. And then all of a sudden, someone who knows them personally is like, oh yeah, like, yeah, they wrote the theme song and I know them very well. Like, and I'm like, what? And then you're like, to me on my end, you're like, oh my God, yeah, let me send you something that they have from the show. Like I'm a huge collector. So this was insane to me. I was like, what are the chances that at this exact moment in time, I met someone who like knew someone personally that I just did this whole series about. Like, I think I mentioned Lewis and Wendy in like, if not every single video, like at least like 4 of the 6 of them.
Yeah, I think the first, yeah, you're right. Cause I watched them all, and there was quite a few in the beginning because they were part of the original like creation, right? So
yeah.
And I love seeing, there was one still you had in it where I guess because Wendy played Miss Gonzalez, right? In the Kids of Degrassi Street. There was one shot where I guess they made it look like she was pregnant.
Yeah.
In the shot. And I remember I paused it and took a screenshot and I sent it to my aunt, and I was like, I think you need to tell me something.
Oh my God, that is so
And she
funny.
goes, and she writes back, she's like, oh my God, I forgot about that.
That is amazing. Oh my God, I love that it got that you guys started to talk about the show. Like, that's amazing.
For me, it's actually the scene of Riley and Zane like kissing. The only gay character I'd really seen on television at that point was Kurt from Glee. At the time, I was just coming into myself and figuring myself out. Seeing more gay characters, little baby gay me was like, what is this?
Something that really stands out for Degrassi to me is that it's one of the only show for young people I've ever seen where when a problem gets too serious or too scary, the kids are always comfortable finding an adult they trust to talk to. A lot of American kids TV like positions kids as the hero in a way that can be empowering, but also makes adults look like idiots and people you can't go to for help. And I really think that Degrassi teaching young people that if you feel like you're in over your head for a situation, it's okay to go to someone you trust and get help is like so important. I just want more shows to be like that, and I really value that.